Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to learn how to use models when we add. So another strategy to where you can use this instead of using the algorithm, which is when we stack our numbers and add them together. You may learn how to draw models, and you'll learn all about what a model is today. Also, our I can statement today is I can use models to explore adding 3-digit numbers. And I'll know I'm successful when I can draw out models to represent the sum. And remember, as we talked about before, the sum that just means it's the answer to an addition problem. So when you see that fancy word sum, S-U-M, it just means it's going to be the answer whenever you add. And another vocabulary word that you'll be hearing a lot today is models. And a model is a number that is represented as an object. So for example, if you remember back to maybe first and second grade, you worked a lot with what was called base 10 blocks. And it was that square that meant 100, the little stick, which meant tens, and then the tiny little cubes, which meant ones. So that's a model. And we're actually going to use that model, but I'm going to draw it for you today when we use this strategy of using models to add. We're going to be trying out our models strategy with this addition problem using 3-digit numbers. We have 148 plus 153. So first I'm going to draw a table, and I'm going to separate this table by hundreds, tens, and ones. And I like to make my table nice and big just so that it can stay nice and organized, and then it won't get too confusing and things won't be all squished together. You'll see how well it works out. And I'm going to look at my first add end. That's the first number in my addition problem, 148. And I'm going to draw a model representing the hundreds place in 148, the tens place, and then the ones place. So I'm only going to look at 148 first. I'm going to look at the hundreds place, and oh my goodness, I see a 1 in my hundreds place, right in 148. So I'm going to draw one square in the hundreds place, and that just means 100. All right, so I have my 100 for that number. Now I'm going to look at the tens. And how many tens do I have in 148? Well, it's that middle number. So I have 4 tens. So I'm going to draw 4 sticks. And I'm just going to draw them as lines, but you'll know that that just means it's a stick of 10. So I have 4 tens. Now I'm going to look at my ones place in 148. That's going to be the third number in that add end, and it's an 8. So I'm going to draw 8 little cubes. They kind of look like little dots. It could mean the same thing. It just means I have 8 ones. So I'm going to draw those under the ones column in that table that we made. All right, our first number is all set in our table for our model. We have 148. Now I'm going to look at 153. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at my hundreds place in that number, 153, and I'm going to draw what that would look like. So just like with the last one, I have 100. So I'm going to just draw one square in my table. And so that means now I have 100 for the 148, and I have another 100 for my 153. And I'm going to look at my tens place next in 153. I have 5 tens. So I'm going to do what I did last time and just draw a stick for each 10. And that would be 5 sticks. So that means I have 5 tens. Finally, I'm going to take a look at my ones place in that last number, 153. And I have 3 ones. So just like last time, I'm going to do like little dots to show you that I have 3 ones. All right, we have our models made for each number in our addition problem. And now we can finally use this model to find the sum, the answer to our addition problem. So I have a question to ask myself. I'm going to take a look at the ones place, and I'm going to ask myself, do I have 10 ones total? So I'm going to take a look at my 8 ones and my 3 ones and kind of like put them together. Do I have 10 ones? Well, I know 8 plus 2 is 10, and then I have one more. So yes, I do have 10 ones because 8 plus 3 would give me 11. What do I do with the 10 ones that I just found? I'm going to circle them and try to group them together like that in the circle. And then I'm going to give those 10 ones over to the tens place, and it creates a brand new 10, right? 10 ones, it just equals 110. So it makes it easier to group those ones together and just add them over to the tens place. And since I grouped those 10 ones together, I'm just going to cross them off in my little group that I made, just so that I know I'm not going to count those anymore. Those 10 ones are gone because I put them over in the tens place. All right, we're moving over to the tens place, and that's where we're going to look next. And I have another question to ask myself. Do I have 10 tens? And let's see, I have 5 tens on top because of what we did with the last step. And then we have 5 on the bottom. So 5 plus 5, well, that makes 10 tens. So yes, we do have 10 tens. I'm going to circle my 10 tens, group them together just like we did with the ones. And I'm going to add that over because 10 tens makes one new 100. So I'm going to group those tens together and put them over in the hundreds place by drawing a brand new square for 100. And then I'm just going to cross off those tens because now they are gone, since now they are over in the hundreds place. Now I'm going to look at the hundreds place, and I have another question to ask myself. Do I have 10 hundreds? And right away I see that I only have 3 hundreds. That's not 10. So no, I do not have 10 hundreds. And now I just get to do the fun part of seeing what I have left over and writing that down in my table. And that will be my final answer, my sum. So I'm going to look at the hundreds place, and I have 3 hundreds. So I'm going to write a number 3 at the bottom. And then I'm going to go over to my tens place. And remember, we do not have 10 tens anymore. That's why I grouped them together, circled them, and I crossed them off because they're gone. So that means I have 0 tens. I'm going to write the number 0 on my table. And then finally, I'm going to look at my ones place. And just like with the tens, those ones I grouped together with the circle and I crossed them out. They are gone. So I only have one little dot left. Aw. So that's 1, 1. So I'm going to write the number 1 on the bottom of that table. And I have my final sum, 301. And that is the answer to 148 plus 153. So I hope this strategy really helped you to see that you can always draw when you do math. I love to draw, so I think this is a really cool strategy to kind of switch it up and to not always write down those numbers all the time or to do a different strategy. Sometimes it's fun just to draw a picture of what it looks like. So I hope this strategy, you can have a little bit of fun with it today, and I hope that it makes sense to you. And you should be doing more practice with it in your math book. That's why that will be your assignment for after this video. And your I can today, just remember, was I can use models to explore adding 3-digit numbers. And that is exactly what we did today. And I'll know I'm successful when I can draw out models to represent the sum, the answer to my addition problem. So that's how you'll know you'll be successful today, when you can do that all on your own.